The time is 6:39. Of course, what we are figuring out is what kind of impacts we're going to be having from Idalia as we go through the week.
That's right. Wednesday is going to be the day here in central Georgia. Generally speaking, I think the further south and the further east you are, the more you're going to feel it. And that spot I'm talking about, Dublin, an example where we are looking live this morning, the sun beginning to come up on what's going to be another warm day. 2 normal summer days between now and Idalia in central Georgia. Temperatures are in the 70s this morning, 73 where we're looking live in Dublin, 75 in Macon, 73 in Sandersville, 77 in Sparta, and 74 in Forsyth. The radar mostly quiet, a couple of isolated showers in Monroe County and Jasper County, but a whole lot more up toward the north into the Athens area. That is lifting away, so not going to be a concern for us. And really, we're just going to be looking at a handful of isolated showers and storms as we work our way into the afternoon hours. Mid-90s going to be the name of the game. I don't think it's a slam dunk to see rain today, only about a 30% chance. As we get into tomorrow morning, temperatures in the 70s. There we go into tomorrow afternoon, maybe a slightly better chance at about 40%. So normal summer days today and tomorrow. Then we get to Wednesday, and then we're talking about Idalia. So the 5 a.m. advisory on Idalia is in, winds of 65 miles an hour. It's now moving toward the north at about 7. It had been stationary for a couple days down in the Caribbean Sea near the Yucatan Peninsula, but new this morning as we check out the cone from the National Hurricane Center, you see a major hurricane making landfall anywhere from the Apalachicola area down to Tampa. Now the cone shows you where the center of the storm is going to go. 2/3 of the time it'll stay within that cone, but that does mean 1/3 of the time it could go a little west of the cone or a little east of the cone. And again, that is just the center. It doesn't show you where the impacts are going to happen. Once it makes landfall, it'll traverse through southern Georgia, reemerge over the Atlantic Ocean at tropical storm status and move north of Bermuda by the time we get to Labor Day weekend. But we've got a lot to get through between now and then. Hurricane warnings in effect for the western tip of Cuba, and now a hurricane watch from the Sarasota area through Tampa up now to the Georgia state line up Interstate 75 and then out toward Apalachicola and Port St. Joe. I expect that hurricane watch to be expanded in the hours to come. Let's map out the latest here on Future View. I've overlaid the cone and Future View here so you can see as we get into Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. This latest run does keep the center of the storm on the west side of the cone, which would be good news for folks in the Tampa area, but not good news for the Big Bend region where we get to 7 a.m. That is a major hurricane making landfall there. But notice the center is still over the Gulf of Mexico. We are already beginning to see rainfall in central Georgia in the terms, let's say, light rain here in central Georgia. Play this forward and we get into the heaviest stuff south and east, Leckley County, Lawrence, Telfair, Wheeler, Montgomery. No matter where the storm is going to go, you're going to feel it a little more than, say, Monroe County, Jasper, Putnam counties. This is at noon on Wednesday. Play this forward into Wednesday evening and the back edge moves through and we will begin to dry out across central Georgia. So I think this is primarily a Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon event for us. We'll check out some of the longer range Future View models. This is the European. You can see the landfall spot pretty similar to what we just saw on the short range Future View, and then up the coast. The latest run of the GFS actually brings it a bit further north and it gets in towards the Tallahassee area a bit more and then comes up through central Georgia through Wednesday evening. So still fine tuning the details here. I feel pretty good about our forecast as things stand right now. The billion-dollar question is, how does the hurricane interact with the cold front we've got coming down? If we've got a faster cold front, that's going to push it a little further south. If we have a faster hurricane, it's going to meet the cold front a little further north. So in central Georgia, we want that southern scenario, but I wouldn't lock in on anything just yet. So what you need to know here is that flooding rain is probably going to be our biggest concern from about 10 a.m. Wednesday until about 4 or 5 o'clock. Winds of 40+ miles an hour right around that same time. But because we are going to be on the west side of the track of Idalia, I think the tornado threat is going to be on the east side. We're not looking at a tornado threat as things stand now. Today, a high temperature at 94, isolated storms. We're not going to be looking at temperatures as hot as the weekend. Man, was it a scorcher. 3 days of 100+. Of course, it felt hotter than that. Sunrise is at 7:07 this morning. Here's your 7-day forecast. 94 today, 91 for Tuesday, and then 80 on Wednesday. So yes, it will be cooler, but that's kind of meaningless because it's going to be raining most of the day on Wednesday. 83 on Thursday, Labor Day weekend, temperatures in the 80s, so not as hot, still warm, but not as hot here in central Georgia as we kick off the month of September.